Forget the clever cold open. It's the end of the year. I'm tapped. Greetings, one and all, and welcome once again to Tom's Hit Parade. By the way, I invite you to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you like what you see, share this video with your friends, and leave me your thoughts down in the comments section. I would be eternally grateful. So, yes, today is the first of my two-part year-end celebration. It used to be my year-end spectacular-ish, but it's not nearly as spectacular-ish as it used to be. I'm kind of I kind of expended all my energy during those last several years. But anyway, um, one disclaimer is the right word. I am getting over a cold, and I don't know what it is, because I looked over my year-end videos from the last several years, and it's like 3 out of the last 5 years, right around this time, I'd come down with a cold. I don't know what it is about the timing of that. It's a weird coincidence or whatever, but yes, I'm getting over a cold, still have a little bit of the cough left and whatnot, and just a tiny bit of foggy brain, but I wanted to get these year-end videos out to you. I wanted to get them out to you by New Year's Day, but that obviously didn't happen. Today is January 3rd. So yeah, that tells you. Anyway, part 2 will of course be my top favorite albums of 2025 countdown. That'll be coming up in the next few days. But I'm just going to be covering kind of everything else. Well, not as much as I used to be. This is just kind of a year in review, talking about my year in music, aside from my favorite albums, and my year in otherwise, just, what happened to me over the course of the year, how I started out the year, and how intact I came out on the end of it. But anyway, yes, it was actually not as eventful a year for me personally as, well, it could have been. The well, the one thing that kind of consumed my year over everything else, not most of the year, but excuse me, consumed the year over everything else, was spent a couple of months helping my mother recuperate from having her hip replaced. So yes, my mother's hip replacement surgery kind of overshadowed everything else in the year. She had a minor setback, which extended her recovery by a little bit of time. But yes, she's come out just fantastically on the other end of it. Um, she's as a person in her mid 80s. She only has so much energy anymore, but she is walking better than she has in years, and she feels like her old self again, which, she hadn't been for a few years while her hip was really hurting her. And she and I both wonder why in the world she put off getting her hip replaced for so long. She was just so miserable, and it was getting her down. It was getting me down. Hopefully I didn't let it show too much in my channel those last few years, but yeah, she is, she's got some of her old interests back, and she seems to be, coming out of it, charging into 2026 with much more life than she limped into 2025 on. So yes, fantastic news there. Otherwise, yeah, my own personal life was fairly uneventful. Um, don't know what else to say about that. I'm thankful for it being that way, because the world, the life elsewhere in this country and in the world was not exactly a bed of roses. The Los Angeles area, as you might recall, started out 2025 with horrendous wildfire down in the Pacific Palisades area primarily. Yes, my one extended relative that still lives down there lives probably 30 miles away from the fire zone, so he and his family were unharmed, untouched by that. And pretty much, I believe, all the people I know personally, mostly Facebook friends and stuff on there, were not damaged, or um, their lives were not really affected directly by the fires. So I know there were a couple of one or two people in the YouTube music community who I don't know personally. I think maybe there was one or two who actually lost their collections, their record or CD collections, in the fires. A handful of others had to evacuate the fire zones temporarily. So, you know, and I live in a rural, kind of a wooded area, and so summers are always a little bit tense for me. The summers, the last several years particularly, have been getting longer and hotter and drier. So every summer that goes by that ends with us, still having our stuff intact and our home in the area intact, I'm grateful for. I know, mathematically speaking, it's probably only going to be a matter of time before a fire hits the area, and I've been trying to make myself zen about the fact that, well, when I'm gone, I can't take all this stuff with me anyway, so it's going to be gone when I'm gone, or at least it's going to be gone from me when I'm gone. So hopefully, if it happens before my life ends, hopefully I will be you know be able to get over it, and life goes on. Life is what it is. The old saying goes, you can't take it with you. So yeah, hopefully I will teach myself more and more over the years. Perhaps I can call this a quasi New Year's resolution. Be able to zen myself out with, helping myself to let go of attachments to material things. So anyway, uh, that discussion for another time, maybe, since could go off on a tangent with that. But yeah, otherwise, there were, this country is plagued yet again with gun violence. It just never seems to end. Um, yeah, bottom line, I'm not going to go onto a tangent about this, but bottom line, no one should have to die for their socio-political beliefs. Period. That's what free speech in this country is about. We seem to have gotten away from um, rational debates, discussions about our ideological differences. We always seem to escalate it into violence, and that's got to come to an end. It doesn't help anyone. All it does is hurt people, the families of those who lose their lives because of it, and many other people, the people who witness such things if they happen in public. So anyway, I won't go on with that because I don't want to bring things down in terms of mood. Excuse me. Still got that cough, got to tell you. So, my year in music. Let's talk about that. Yes, I wasn't quite able to eliminate my vinyl listening backlog as I had hoped to do by the end of 2025. So, within the first couple of months, hopefully, I will have gotten rid of, well, not gotten rid of literally, but I will have processed my, finished processing my vinyl listening backlog. And then, of course, I will be moving on to my CD listening backlog, which is grotesquely enormous. That hopefully will go quicker because I can listen to CDs at work. As long as they're not loud, and I can do my other work without the music interfering. I can listen to CDs at work. So, both at work and home. Hopefully, that will reduce that backlog more quickly. The other problem is finding a place to actually store all these CDs that I want to keep. Yes, my music storage is getting maxed out here, so I need to see what we can do about that. My brother is a whiz with woodworking cabinetry. He made this record cabinet that you see behind me here. So yes, I had a video about the installation of this and a visual of it. So maybe I'll put that in the title, in the card at the end of the video. Um, that was a couple of years ago that he put this in. But anyway, yes, he built that. So I'm trying to get him to maybe build me some more capacitous CD shelving. So maybe by the end of 2026, I'll have some new CD shelving to show off. Yes, fingers crossed for that. Let's see. Yes, and I acquired some. I've got notes pinned to or taped to my side of my camera here. My tablet is what I record on. My discographies. I actually acquired several discographies, full discographies, not counting live albums or best ofs, otherwise full discographies, kind of in the interest of my revamped backtracks videos, which will be continuing here. I like to have the CDs on hand to use in backtracks. So yes, the discographies I acquired over 2025: Creedence Clearwater Revival, except for their last album. I've got their first 6 albums. So yes, almost complete discographies. The Beatles, yes, I finally acquired Beatles actual studio albums I might be missing one. Well, there's one, the Yellow Submarine. It's not really a studio album. It's kind of a hybrid. So I don't count that one. That one's not included in there. But yes, until a year ago, I only had maybe one or two Beatles albums and greatest hits CDs. Their double disc blue and red hit CDs were all that I had of the Beatles. But now, finally, deep diving into the Beatles albums. Bette Midler, just a couple months ago, I found a lot of Bette Midler's full discography minus, up to a certain point, after which I already had those albums. So with this eBay lot, I actually made it a full discography. Bette Midler, really enjoying her lately. Elton John, I acquired all of Elton John's albums, studio albums, fairly quickly. Actually, I found a couple of eBay Discog sellers who had chunks of albums that I didn't have, and so just within a handful of purchases, I was able to get a complete discography. ABBA, I just recently got ABBA's um, 8. Yeah, their first 8 studio albums. I already had their most recent album, Voyager, whatever it was. So yes, I got a full discography of them. And then one of the smaller discographies that I actually finally acquired in the wake of his, was it right after, or maybe it was right before his passing? Tom Lehrer, a fantastic, um, super clever musical satirist. Um, he just passed away this past year, and so yes, I had been looking to get his entire discography, and got those. That actually does include studio albums and live albums because he only did 2 of each. So there you go on that. And actually 2 of each. There was one other album that was kind of a compilation, sort of a soundtrack, if you will, from I believe it was British news parody-ish kind of thing, kind of like the Daily Show here that we have now here in the States, called "That Was the Week That Was." Kind of a songs that he did for that show. That's the 5th album that he had. But anyway, to make a long story even longer. But anyway, yes, and yes, I've got actually 4 lists coming up here in just a minute of my favorite acquisitions of the year. This is something I started doing a couple of years ago. Did I do it last year? I think I did it last year. I think there was one year recently after I started doing it that I didn't do it for whatever reason. Maybe it was because of I had a cold. But yes, I've got 4 little lists of 5 albums each plus 2 of my favorite acquisitions. I'm going to show you in just a minute. My favorite freebie finds, my favorite thrift store purchases, my favorite soundtrack purchases, regular price soundtrack purchases, and regular price non-soundtrack purchases. So yes, I've got a little raft of albums to show you in just a minute here. First of all, I was going to do this segment last, but I don't want to end the video on a down note. Talk about the losses of people who passed away in the world of music during 2025, some of which I acknowledged on my channel. And I used to do them as they happened and just stopped making the little the instant in memoriam videos for whatever reason over the course of the year. So I thought I would talk about the notable music personalities who passed away during 2025. And I just realized I forgot to have a stack of examples of these artists' works here in front of me to show you as I go through the list. You can blame the fuzzy post-cold brain on that. But anyway, some of the artists who passed away over 2025. I'm not going to be able to name them all. It would take forever. But anyway, jazz singer Cleo Lane passed away during 2025, as did R&B artist D'Angelo and soul vocalist Angie Stone. We lost some great African American music voices over the course of 2025. Film and TV composers such as Lalo Schifrin, very most famous for Mission Impossible, the theme for Mission Impossible. Mark Snow, who wrote the theme for X-Files, and they both did much more aside from those most famous compositions, as well as lyricists and songwriters Alan Bergman and Charles Strauss. So yes, Broadway and musical theater and musical film lyricists from those disciplines as well. Keyboardists Tim Gorman and Bobby Whitlock, bassists Anthony Jackson and John Lodge, drummers Phil Upchurch and Clem Burke, and guitarists Mick Ralphs and John Sykes. They all left us during the year of 2025. Rick Davies, the founding member and vocalist of Supertramp, Steve Cropper of Booker T and the MGs, and George Koymans of Golden Earring. They all passed away as well in 2025. Lots of great notable artists passed away. David Johansen, who was both a punk icon in the New York Dolls and a novelty swing revival artist, Buster Poindexter. He passed away of, I believe, of cancer. He was only 75 years old. Some of the biggest names in art in music, just so many names here. Roberta Flack, soul and R&B vocalist. Marianne Faithfull, pop singer. Chuck Mangione, a great jazz flugelhornist and trumpet player. Chris Rea, as well as reggae artist Jimmy Cliff. They all passed away. We also lost Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone, Ace Frehley of Kiss, Connie Francis, a great classic pop singer, and as well as probably the two biggest names here, Ozzy Osbourne of Black Sabbath and solo work, as well as Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. And yes, those are just some of the names. A couple of the names that were kind of personal significance to me. And again, I could kick myself for not having the CDs here. Todd Snyder, Americana folk rock singer-songwriter, who I only discovered a couple of years ago, thanks to my little brother Noah. And he actually was raised in Oregon here. So just wasn't even aware of him. And thanks to Noah for putting him on my radar. As well as the two most meaningful to me, perhaps, Tom Lehrer, who I just recently mentioned, great musical satirist, super clever wit, great way with lyrics, probably one of the best lyricists in the world, honestly. You just was kind of confined to the novelty music genre, as well as Raul Malo. He was a great solo artist as well as the frontman for the Tex-Mex band The Mavericks. Yes, I was quite shocked and disappointed to hear that Raul Malo had passed away. So yes, those were just a handful, just the tip of the iceberg of the significant artists who passed away during the year of 2025. Godspeed to each and every one of them, and to the dozens and dozens that I did not mention in this video. And now, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, let's go ahead and get to the grand finale of this video. 4 quick little lists of my favorite acquisitions of the year. I love doing this because it helps to remind me of the great year I had in accumulating CDs that I really enjoyed over the course of the year. Kind of a belated Thanksgiving thing, if you will, I guess. I got 4 categories here. Each list is 5 ranked items with 2 honorable mentions. The first list is freebie finds. Yes, I had some great freebie finds this year. My 2 honorable mentions would be Peace by the Eurythmics. Yep, that was on the freebie shelf. A lot of these were in bags or boxes or sometimes just piles of jewel case parts, CDs, and inserts, front and back inserts, just jumbled together. And to me, that's one of my favorite kinds of jigsaw puzzles. I just take them, put them in a bag off the freebie shelf, take them back to the office, and if it's slow enough at work, if I have nothing to do, I kind of just work on assembling the jigsaw puzzles, cleaning the CDs to see if they're playable, a lot of which are not. But it's just a fun thing. So that's how I acquired several of these. The other the other honorable mention is Babyface's installment in the MTV Unplugged series. He's got a lot of special guests here: Eric Clapton, Stevie Wonder, Beverly Crowder, Shanice Wilson. So yes, I actually have not listened to this one yet, so I need to check this one out. But yeah, it was a cool find. And now on to the ranked items. Number 5, I actually replaced the collection of his that I had with this one, just because it's kind of special if I get it as a freebie find. The Best of John Denver is a 2-disc set, as was the one that this one replaced. It pretty much had the same kind of stuff. This I think had fewer tracks on it than the one that replaced it, but the one that it replaced. But I'm not exactly a John Denver completist, because so much of his music sounds so different. Hey, okay, maybe he is a one gear artist, a kind of a one trick pony, but he made some songs that are just the most famous songs in the world and totally unforgettable. So you got to give him that. Anyway, number 4, and I have not listened to this one yet, and I'm really looking forward to it. Ruth Brown, a later album of hers, R plus B equals Ruth Brown. This one ought to be interesting. I've got a 2-disc set of her classic early rhythm and blues and soul hits, so this one will be interesting to listen to. That's number 4. Number 3, I was very happy to find this because I only have one of her albums. I've only ever heard one of her albums, maybe another one, but I really enjoy what I've heard of hers. um, Miriam Makeba. This is a greatest hits album of hers, Mama Africa. So yes, very much looking forward to. Yes, for a freebie find, and the disc was in fantastic condition. So yeah, oh, almost lost the insert there. So yeah, see, yeah, one of the um, piles of CDs I found that were like that, the jigsaw puzzle CDs, was in a ratty ass looking duffel bag. Yes, a duffel bag just sitting there full of CD parts. So yeah, grab this, and I think this one was in that duffel bag. So number 2, my runner-up for favorite freebie finds, Peter, Paul and Mary's self-titled album. Yeah, and again, nearly spotless condition. So yeah, and this one also was in the duffel bag. So yeah, always appreciate. Oh, another artist we lost this year, fairly late this year, I think, was Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul and Mary. So I believe Noel Paul Stuckey is still alive, so I believe he is the last surviving member of the trio. So rest in peace, Peter Yarrow. And now my favorite freebie find of the year, and I think this was also in the duffel bag. So that duffel bag was a major score. The best of Sister Sledge. Yes, I do appreciate. I'm a little bit young to have really appreciated the '70s as they happened, but hey, Sister Sledge had a few fantastic hits from the disco era from the late '70s, early '80s. What was the one? We Are Family, of course. Lost in Music was another great song of theirs. I thought there was another one. Oh, He's the Greatest Dancer. That was another big hit of theirs. So yeah, very happy to have that one and to have gotten it for free. See, this is why I love doing this. I don't think I've ever done a favorite freebie finds list before, but yes, it reminds me of how fortunate I've been this year. How truly fortunate. Now, the next one is my favorite thrift store finds of the year. Most of these, as you know, were 99 cents a piece, and most of them at St. Vinny's stores. These first two, my two honorable mentions, I found in Florence back in February when my brother and I went there for the first time to that St. Vinny's out there. A couple of discs by Don Dorsey. He is an electronic artist, a keyboardist, as you can see. He does synth renditions of classical pieces. This is his album Bachbusters. Bachbusters, sorry. And yeah, cool thing there. And his other album I found not side by side, but I found it at the same time. Beethoven or Bust, another Don Dorsey album. And I've mentioned before, I'm rather fond of the Telarc label. They do some great jazz and classical-ish stuff. I must have 25 Telarc albums in my collection. But yeah, was happy to find both of those. And now onto the ranked albums, the ranked list. Number 5 is a CD that I had the standard version of before. Got rid of it because it hadn't grown on me yet, but found the deluxe edition along with a DVD or a live CD. Gary Barlow, member of Take That, with Music Played by Humans, which is kind of the title of this album kind of has significant meaning here in 2025, the mid 2020s, with the rise of AI in music. Don't get me started on that. But yes, a disc of the album with a few bonus tracks, and the second disc is a live concert album. So yeah, and I played this again, and kind of wondered why I gave it up the first time. As I said, I don't think I gave it enough time to grow on me. Number 4, I'd been hoping to find this one at some point, was the first album by the A-Teens, the ABBA Generation. Yes, they started out as an ABBA cover band, but they went into, and I used to have this album a long time ago, but they have come out. They came out with a few albums after this, with some great albums full of original material. So yes, they, putting out their first album as an ABBA cover band, that's usually, I would think, would be the kiss of death. Everybody say, get rid of these kids. They just do karaoke. Get rid of them. They got another chance, and they came out with some good albums. That's what I was trying to say. Excuse me. Number 3 in my list of favorite freebies, favorite thrift store finds, is Real Imagination, an album by Michel Nicastro. This is covers of songs from movie musicals, from family-oriented movie musicals. A handful of my favorite songs here, some of my favorite songs. She does Somewhere in My Memory from Home Alone, John Williams composition. And then Pure Imagination from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Candle on the Water from Pete's Dragon. You might be seeing that sometime soon. Spoiler alert. The Rainbow Connection from the Muppet movie. And Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz. So yes, not only is this has some great songs on it, but it's on another favorite label of mine, Varese Sarabande, which specializes in movie music, film scores, film soundtracks. So yes, amazing to find this one. And I think I found this one also at the Florence St. Vinny's back in February. My runner-up for favorite thrift store find, and this was just a couple weeks ago, and I forgot to include this little 4 or 5 CD bunch that I found in my last thrift store haul, because I did it like a week earlier, and it just slipped my mind. But Willie Nelson, That's Life. Epic Seconds has had this CD there for like $10 or $12, and I've been tempted to buy it. Almost did a couple of times, and there's a reason I didn't. It ended up being at the St. Vinny's local here in town for 99 cents. Yes, it's basically a Sinatra, I think, covers album, an album of American songbook standards, which I know he always does wonderfully with. This is an album from 2021. So yeah, I was happy to find this one. And my favorite thrift store find, you just saw it in my last thrift store haul, is Judy at Carnegie Hall. Yes, haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I know it's going to be fantastic. It's 2 discs full of the landmark, legendary concert by Judy Garland back in 1960, I believe it was. So yeah, we'll have fun listening to that one when I get around to it. Yes, my CD listening backlog, as I told you. Okay, on to my favorite soundtrack purchases of the year. These may actually no, none of these are thrift store purchases, but they were all fantastic. Things I was very, very, very happy to add to my soundtrack library. The first 2 I found at out in Florence last month, the month before my most recent trip out to Florence. These were at Albatross Records. Was happy to find these. 2 Star Wars soundtracks: Solo, A Star Wars Story, for $4, and what you saw in my Oregon Coast Thrift Store haul video a month or two ago. And the other one that I found was Rogue One. So yes, was very, very stoked to get these 2 Star Wars Universe soundtracks, $4 a piece at the store, at the Albatross Records. So yes, wonderful listening, which will happen soon. Yes. Most of these I have not listened to, but actually most of the soundtracks here in this list I have listened to. Next one, I love this movie. Might actually be one of my favorite Schwarzenegger movies, Kindergarten Cop, the score by Randy Edelman. Yeah, what can I say? And it was filmed in Oregon, filmed in the north coastal town of Astoria, the same town in which The Goonies was filmed. So, trivia note. But yes, a delightful kind of pastoral Americana-ish score by Randy Edelman. Lots of fun. And the movie is adorable too. I think Schwarzenegger made a wise choice in being taking that role. So yes, fun, charming movie. Next one up here, I had been after this one for a few years now, for several years, so I was happy to have finally acquired it. Time After Time. This was a Nicholas Meyer movie. He did this one. I think this was his first, maybe not his first directorial job, but one of his first ones before Star Trek II. A great time travel sci-fi movie in uh, which poses the question: what if H.G. Wells didn't just write about his time machine, but actually built one and had to pursue Jack the Ripper across the centuries? Very fun movie. A little bit, a little dark in places, of course, since it deals with Jack the Ripper, but it's worth watching if you haven't watched it yet. But yes, very, very fun movie. A great score by Miklos Roja. And yes, I had the original version of the score for a long time, much shorter than this album, but I was very, very happy to locate this remastered and expanded release. So that was my number 4. Number 3, I mentioned it a few minutes ago with the Michel Nicastro album, Pete's Dragon, a favorite movie from my childhood. Great, adorable Disney film. This is the original one from 1977. And yes, lots of fun little songs on this one. Yes, I actually found the LP in a picture sleeve, but without its outer jacket, on the Freebie shelf at House of Records a couple of years ago. And so I'd kind of been hoping in the back of my mind, maybe if I could, find the jacket, or the jacket, regardless of what condition the record was in, or otherwise the CD. And this one actually. Lucas Kendall had it on sale at fsmcds.com a couple months ago, so I was able to nab it for $8. So yeah, lots of fun. Nice to finally have the soundtrack from that movie. Excuse me. My runner-up for favorite soundtrack purchase is The Mosquito Coast, a great film directed by Peter Weir, starring Harrison Ford, as you can see here. And yes, the music, the score is kind of understated. It's by Maurice Jarre, mostly electronic and a little more ambient, a little more down in the background than some of his other scores, but still lots of fun. I mean, it's like, one of my favorite movies, so I had to have the score at some point. So I had it on cassette a long, long time ago, so I'd been hoping to find it for many years now. And another one that I had been hoping to find for a long time, but had to keep putting it off because it was very, very pricey, is my number 1 favorite soundtrack purchase from 2025, Harry and the Hendersons. Yes, I had it on cassette way back in the day, the original MCA recording of the cassette soundtrack. It was put out in like 1987, but originally it was never put out on CD. I don't know why, because CDs were fairly popular. Maybe soundtracks didn't sell well enough on CD for them to warrant putting out, because it was put out on LP and cassette back in 1987. So this Intrada? Yes, Intrada label release from 2007 is the first time that it's ever been put on CD. And it's in an expanded, remastered format presentation. So yes, very happy. This cost me $50, but it was worth it. I love the theme. YouTube the theme from Harry and the Henderson. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. Wonderful stuff there. And now my final list of 5 albums plus 2 honorable mentions is my favorite purchases, my favorite non-soundtrack purchases from 2025. My 2 honorable mentions are, are the first 2 albums by the Average White Band, remastered with bonus tracks. Yes, AWB and Cut the Cake. Actually, no, I don't think these were the first 2 albums. Maybe they were. It's either their first and second album or their second and third album. I can't remember which. But yes, they both have bonus tracks on them, I believe. No, maybe they don't. This one does not. But this one does. So yes, I was very happy to get those. I had had a compilation of Average White Band stuff for a while, until I realized that the only songs I really cared about were on these 2 albums. So picked up those albums, sold the compilation to House of Records, and got a little bit of money for it. So there you go. Win-win for everybody. And now on to the 5 ranked items on my favorite purchases, non-soundtrack purchases of 2025. The Johnny Cash Children's Album. Yes, I picked this up for 2 reasons. First of all, because, hey, I've developed an affinity for albums made for kids ever since I inherited my sister's CD collection, because she loved albums for kids. There were a handful of CDs of that ilk in her collection, and so I just kind of carried on collecting them from there. But yes, I bought it for that reason, but also because this was a 1975 album, so it was a candidate for my 1975 backtracks. So there you go. Yes, very fun, adorable, charming album. You'll have to check it out and listen to it if you have an appreciation for kids' music. Definitely check it out, and it shows a different side of Johnny Cash. So, number 4 on my list is one that I had been hoping to find for quite a while. I had it on LP for a while, found it on CD, but the CD was in really lousy shape. Finally, was able to took the opportunity to find one on Discogs and order it. And hey, the disc was in perfect condition, so it's like third time trying to acquire it is the charm. Wet, Wet, Wet with their album Popped In, Sold Out. This was their debut album and the only album in their discography, the first part of their discography anyway, that I had been missing up until now. It's like that was the only gap in my Wet, Wet, Wet collection for like 3 or 4 years, and finally picked it up. Fun band, kind of in the new romantic genre that was popular in the mid to late 80s. So yeah, was very, very happy to finally legitimately add this one to my collection. Now this next one, this was an impulse buy, and I kind of don't know why I picked it up, just because, in terms of music, musical aptitude, this guy is not exactly up there, but it's a novelty record, I guess you'd say. But honestly, it was just too good to resist. It was $10, but it's a relatively difficult one to find. It is God Bless Tiny Tim. Yes, Tiny Tim, you call him a novelty artist, but I guess, when I think about all the stuff I just said about him, he actually was a pretty good singer, honestly. It's just he used that falsetto in Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and that's what he became famous for. But this album actually shows multiple sides to his singing voice and his ukulele, I think, prowess, if you can call it that. But yes, a bunch of bonus tracks on here. Um, just as many bonus tracks practically as there are album tracks on here. So as you can see, the top half of the list is the studio album, and the bottom half of the list is bonus tracks. So yeah, remastered, so great sound quality, and so yeah, I think this was worth the $10 purchase, the $10 price tag. At Epic Seconds, actually, they had it here locally in town. So yes, I was happy to find this. I don't know why. Not particularly a huge Tiny Tim fan, but what can I say? I'm weird like that. Anyway, my number 2, my runner-up for favorite purchase of 2025 non-soundtrack is the Fascination EP by the Human League. And this is the Japanese CD version. You can see the Japanese text here. And yes, it cost me, I won't tell you how much it cost me, but look up the prices on Discogs, and it actually it cost me less than that, but still, the price is quite noteworthy. But I had found all the other Human League albums that I'd wanted, and this was sitting right there, and the guy at the store was able to, since I'm such a regular customer there, he cut me a little deal on it. So don't tell anybody else. But yeah, was very happy to add this to my collection. Probably my 2 favorite Human League songs were on just this EP and not on albums. The title track Fascination, as well as the song Mirror Man. So very, very happy to add this one to my collection. But my favorite purchase of 2025 is actually also a Japanese issue CD, and there's a story about it, a story behind it. Actually, a couple of different stories behind it. I made a video about it, but I didn't like how it turned out, so I never uploaded it, never finished editing it. I should do that sometime early this year, to do a redo of that video. But anyway, Group 87. This is their self-titled album. This is an electronic instrumental music group that lasted a short while. They only did 2 albums, I think, and the second album had different personnel, some different personnel than on the first album. But yes, Japanese. You can see the obi strip there. But yes, and yeah, I won't go into the story here just because I don't want to spoil it for the video that will probably come up fairly soon here. But yes, this one I'd had on my wish list for quite a while, for probably a couple of years. I was very happy to finally get my hands on that. So yeah, I know it's a little weird for me to talk up, say that, hey, that's my #1 purchase of the year non-soundtrack, but to not really describe why. Just give you anticipation for that video. How about that? Anyway, but still, even though I was kind of tight-lipped on that particular release, hopefully this video was enjoyable for you to watch. And yeah, that is my wrap-up year in review for 2025. Stay tuned for my favorite albums of 2025. 20 ranked items with 5 honorable mentions. That should be lots of fun for you guys to see coming up in the next couple of days. But for now, that'll do it for this video. Be sure to like it if you liked it. And before you go, drop me some feedback in the comment section. I'd love to know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon to catch my future videos, hit my username to browse my old videos. Links to my socials and my favorite fellow YouTubers are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. And remember, life's too short to be a music snob.